Hey there everybody, my name is Alex, spelled like that, and today we're going to be going over my top 9 plugins for recording, mixing, and mastering. Now, as just a quick disclaimer, I use a lot more than just 9 different types of plugins, but these are like my staples. I use these in almost every single song that I ever write or cover that I ever do, and I think they're all fantastic. So let's jump right into it. But before we do, I want you to make sure that you've hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and make sure that you have your bell notifications turned on so that way you're notified every single Monday when we come out with a new video just like this. Alright, without further ado, let's jump into it. Now, as we said, we have 9 plugins, but we're going to be using a couple of different examples. One of them is going to be the song Way from my last album, Horizon, and the other song that we're going to be using as an example today is a song called Smoke that I have not released yet. I actually just wrote it about a month ago, fully produced it. It's pretty much ready to ship, but it's going to come out on the new album. Just so you know, I'm very secretive about my stuff, especially when it's not been released. So I'm only going to be showing you little snippets here and there, but you will get a general gist of what that song will sound like when it comes out. Who knows? I'd love to put a date on it, but we'll see. The first one on our list is going to be a compressor. Specifically, it's a Pro Tools compressor. I've brought this plugin up before in my effects for horns video. If you haven't seen that, be sure to click that button right there, and it's called the Pro Compressor, I believe. So I'm in Pro Tools here. This is what the song looks like. You can tell it's a very short song. It only lasts like a little over 135, so it's very short, and we're going to use the verse in here. So this is what it looks like, Pro Compressor, and I like it because of the presets that it comes with. I think that the vocal lead preset is amazing, and then you can play around with the dials from there. So you can see we have a relatively tight attack and a relatively loose release. Our ratio is relatively low. We've got a pretty big knee, meaning that, you know, it's kind of smoothing out the gate, if you will. Our threshold is not super high, but we do have a pretty big makeup, which is basically like gain boost. 0 on the depth, and this is basically just taking this vocal and squishing it in. So what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to take everything off of it, including the EQ, and we're going to solo out. This is just the verse. Now, also one more disclaimer: there will be cursing in this episode, so if you're sensitive to that, just know that maybe this isn't the episode for you. I say the F word, and I believe I say the S word in this particular verse. So just be aware that that's a possibility. So just the verse as it was recorded sounds like this.
See, I'm a desperado, I'm more out west than life of Pablo. Guess that's a push, but I'm going hard, cause that's the motto. Your times are tough, even though I feel like I won the lotto. Lot of people message it, acting like I'm some Fortunato. Fuck it, I'ma make this one for me and for my happiness. Trust it, I'ma add you to the team if you're the nastiest. I'm focused on my craft to feed my son the mac and cheesiest. I'm proud to be the guy that make this shit look like the easiest. See?
Okay, now you could probably tell, I had to put my headphones on. You could probably tell there that it's pretty quiet, actually. I don't like to record with high gain. If I zoom in, you can see I have a tendency to kind of pop out vocally from time to time. So I like to keep my gain very low when I'm recording because I can always boost it later, which is what we've done here. Again, we've added almost 19 dB just with this compressor alone. So here's what it sounds like with the compressor.
See, I'm a desperado, I'm more out west than life of Pablo. Guess that's a push, but I'm going hard, cause that's the motto. Your times are tough, even though I feel like I won the lotto. Lot of people message it, acting like I'm some Fortunato. Fuck it, I'ma make this one for me and for my happiness. Trust it, I'ma add you to the team if you're the nastiest. I'm focused on my craft to feed my son the mac and cheesiest. I'm proud to be the guy that make this shit look like the easiest. See,
Okay, and now if we add in our Neutron, which is just our EQ, it's a fancy EQ by iZotope. I like it, but it's not on this list. If we add that to it, you can see it adds a little more grit.
See, I'm a desperado, I'm more out west than life of Pablo. Guess that's a push, but I'm going hard, cause that's the motto.
Bypassing.
Your times are tough, even though I feel like I won the lotto. Lot of people message it, acting like I'm some Fortunato. Fuck it, I'ma make this one for me and for my happiness. Trust it, I'ma add you to the team if you're the nastiest. I'm focused on my craft to feed my son the mac and cheesiest. I'm proud to be the guy that make this shit look like the easiest. See,
I really like this plugin. It's just it's a fairly simple compressor, but I love the presets that it has. I like the control that it has, and it's super smooth. It also has like a sidechain EQ frequency type deal, which I normally don't use on vocals, but I will use on like kicks and snares and stuff. So that way I know that I'm really pulling out the frequencies that I want to pull out. But as far as compressors go, this is kind of a hard one to get. Unless you use Pro Tools, then you can use this. I don't think they make this as a third party where you can buy this and use this on a different DAW or a different software. I could be wrong on that, but yeah, this is a fantastic compressor and I love it, and I literally use it on, you can see here on the screen, I've got it here, I've got it here, I've got it here, I've got it here. Anytime I use compression, I use this specific compressor every single time. So again, we're gonna stick with the verse here. I want to make sure that it's soloed. The next plugin on my list is a plugin called Decapitator, and this is by Soundtoys. Full honesty, there's a lot of Soundtoys stuff on this list, and that's just because they make phenomenal plugins. I would buy, if you're in the market for new plugins and you want to find a whole bundle that you could grab onto, I would get the full suite from Soundtoys, because that suite is just amazing. It has everything you could possibly need. They have tons of stuff, and so this Decapitator is maybe one of the best ways to add distortion to a track or to an individual part of your track. And so that's what we're going to look at here. So I have it sidechained so that way I can kind of mess with the mix of it, but you'll be able to hear it here. So I'm going to leave the neutron and compressor on. I'm going to turn off the Decapitator, and then I'll just turn it on, and you will instantly hear how amazing this plugin is. So here we go.
see, I'm a desperado, I'm more out west than life of Pablo. Guess that's a push, but I'm going hard, cause that's the motto. Your times are tough, even though I feel like I won the lotto. Lot of people message it, acting like I'm some Fortunato. Fuck it, I'ma make this one for me and for my happiness. Trust it, I'ma add you to the team if you're the nastiest. I'm focused on my craft to feed my son the mac and cheesiest. I'm proud to be the guy that make this shit look like the easiest. See,
All right, so now let's actually jump into the plugin and see what's going on. So the one of the big reasons why I love the Soundtoys stuff is because they have presets for every single one of their plugins. But I also find that companies that put presets in their plugins actually know how their plugins are supposed to sound, are supposed to work. They've actually tested it, they've gone through, they've mixed stuff, they've mastered stuff with it. So for me, it's like an instant, okay, this has to be at least somewhat decent of a plugin because it has these presets. And now that's not necessarily, I wouldn't take that to the bank, but for me, when I use a plugin, if it doesn't have a preset, I find it hard to believe that it's going to be as good as everyone says that it's going to be. So you can see it has all these presets here. I didn't use any presets on this one. It's got a drive. It has a punish, but I have the punish off. It's pretty destroyed at the just as is. I don't need the punish. You have a low cut and a high cut with tone. There's a little thump flip that you can flip on and off. There's a steep flip that you can flip on and off. I wish I could tell you exactly what they do. I know thump has to do with the low end, and I know steep has to do with the high end. Honestly, I just flip it, and if it sounds good, then I use it. And I have the tone set to bright because I really just want the high end of the vocal to be affected more than the low end, so that way you can hear the words still at the end of it. Because I've listened to plenty of songs where people put Decapitator or some sort of fuzz or some sort of distortion on their voice, and you can't understand a freaking word they're saying. But I really like this and being able to set the tone to bright, or at least on the higher end of bright, so that way you can still hear the words that I'm saying and you get the effect added onto it. Output is set pretty high because I have this thing on full mix wet, but also the output level here doesn't matter because I have this side changed. And then where the true interesting stuff comes out of the Decapitator is in the style. So it has A, E, N, T, P, and these are all different. If you think about it like amps, these are all different styles of amps, right? So you can hear just the difference. If I go between A, E, N, T, and P, you'll be able to hear the difference.
See, I'm a desperado, I'm more out west than life of Pablo. Guess that's a push, but I'm going hard, cause that's the motto. Your times are tough, even though I feel like I won the lotto. Lot of people messaging, acting like I'm some Fortunato. Fuck it, I'ma make this one for me and for my happiness. Trust it, I'ma add you to the team if you're the...
So the reason why I went with the P on this one is because it allows for more mids to come through. So again, it's all about, I want to make sure that this verse is clarity, 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 so that way you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth here. So the next plugin that we're going to be looking at is a plugin called Melodyne. Now, recently I posted a short video of me and my friends covering the song Honesty by Pink Sweats, and we put it on TikTok, and I had so many people going on TikTok saying it's worse than the original, blah, 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 whatever. But there was one person who said it sounds manufactured. And I assumed that he meant the vocal. And to be honest, I do use Melodyne on every single vocal that I use. Melodyne it's a pitch correction plugin, so it's very similar to Auto-Tune in that sense. But it's not as hard as Auto-Tune is. You can certainly make it hard, but it's not as hard as Auto-Tune is, and it's less noticeable than Auto-Tune. I like to use Melodyne for the same reason why most people say they like to use Auto-Tune, which is to just make small, simple adjustments to my vocal. I did use it for this chorus, so we're going to listen to the chorus here. I'm going to mute... we're just going to listen to what I'm calling the belt section. And now, just as an added bonus, I'm going to turn off my little plate, but I do have my Neutron EQ and Pro Compressor on as well for boost as well as for frequency boost. But I'm going to just first play you the chorus without any Melodyne, and then I'll play it with you with Melodyne. Then we'll jump into the plugin and show you what's actually going on. So here's what it sounds like without Melodyne.
I got both hands on the wire, and I know I'm not too high off the ground, and I'm not letting go. I know as the flames rise up higher, I won't be toast, cause I can stand in the fire, but you can't take the smoke.
So there you can kind of tell it's a little bit pitchy at times. There are a couple of voice cracks, but I wanted to keep those in because this is a very grungy style song. So here's what it sounds like with the Melodyne.
I got both hands on the wire, and I know I'm not too high off the ground, and I'm not letting go. I know as the flames rise up higher, I won't be toast, cause I can stand in the fire, but you can't take the smoke.
So it literally just cleans it up a little bit. So to the guy who said that my voice sounded manufactured, just kidding. Just kidding. All friends here. We're all friends. Okay, so now let's jump into Melodyne, and I can show you exactly what it does. So without completely redoing what I've done with it already, is you have this button up here. This is what Melodyne looks like. And one of the first things that I like to do is just go ahead and establish what is the key. So the key is in A minor, and then you hit the transfer button. You highlight the section that you want to record, and then you just hit the play button. And while it's playing through that section, it's reading the actual notes and frequencies that you're singing or saying or playing. I've used Melodyne on more than just voices before, and it will put them in the actual notes that they have. Now, when you first put it through, it just shows you the notes, including however sharp or flat you are. So if you're a very flat singer, you're going to listen back and go, what the heck, it didn't do anything. Where the magic comes in And really the only reason why I use it, because I'm slightly flat, I've been working on that, but I'm slightly flat when I sing, is if you Control All, so that way you highlight everything, you'll immediately see that we have some options here. I just go to this menu here, and here you can say pitch to center, 100%, and then pitch drift, also 100%. Pitch center is basically if you're flat or sharp, it will bring that sharpness down or bring that flatness up. If you have some weird jumps, or if you have a weird little vibrato thing, that's where the pitch drift comes in. So like imagine if you were singing but you couldn't hold that note and you went, but I'm singing, it would catch that pitch drift and it would bring it back up. So there's that. There's also a snap to A minor. That's why you want to put in the actual key. I would be very cautious when you're clicking that, simply because I've found in the past I'll click it and there were some notes that I sang that I really liked that sounded phenomenal in the song that just weren't in the key. So be careful when you're doing that. Make sure that you're not messing up what you want to mess up. If you can sound really good without Melodyne, then you'll sound phenomenal with it. Really, that's all I use it for. It has a bunch of other tools up here in the toolbar, but as long as you have the selection tool, the main tool here, you can pretty much do whatever you want. You can trim up things. I'm going to Control Z so that way I don't lose it. You can move things around. Holding down Control means you can, or holding down Options means that you can move things around a little bit less. You can move sounds up if you want. You can move that down if you want. So you have a full range of options, and I like it better than Auto-Tune, because in Auto-Tune you just set a couple dials. You can go in on certain Auto-Tunes and actually draw in the notes, very similar to this, but Auto-Tune's main function is not for repitching each note individually. It's to try and get the whole thing encapsulated. And it's relatively cheap to get into too, which isn't bad either. It's about the same price as jumping into Auto-Tune. So, you know, if you got $100, I would definitely do Melodyne. If you've got some more, there's higher tiers of Melodyne, but honestly, I'm using the lowest tier of Melodyne and I absolutely love it, and I've used it on everything. So go for it. The next one on the list is another Soundtoys plugin by the name of Little Plate. And this is a reverb. You would have also seen this in that same video I was referring to before, the Effects for Horns video. We're gonna stay in the chorus. I have this little plate here, and I'm gonna play the chorus again, and I'll turn on the little plate, turn it back off, and then we'll go into the plugin. Here we go.
I got both hands on the wire, and I know I'm not too high off the ground, and I'm not letting go. I know as the flames rise up higher, I won't be toast, cause I can stand in the fire, but you can't take the smoke.
Okay, so let's jump into it. Now, one of the big reasons why I love Soundtoys plugins is they are just so simple. And you can see here, we have our decay, so basically the amount of time that you want that reverb to last. I have it set somewhere relatively in between 1 and 2 seconds. You have a mix dial, basically saying, you know, dry being the vocal that you're putting into it is going to take the most precedence, and wet being the reverb is going to take the most precedence. So let's play around with that. So here's
I got both hands on the wire.
Totally dry, there's nothing.
I got both hands on the wire.
And then you'll see as we go wet, you no longer hear the vocal, you're only hearing the reverb itself.
I got both hands on the wire. And I know I'm not too high off the ground.
And then you can see here there's also a low cut. Generally, when I'm dealing with vocals, I turn that low cut all the way up, because I find it's more pleasing to have everything from the mids to the high frequencies have the reverb. The low frequency reverb just adds more rumble, And especially in this song, I will play a little bit of this song for you, but especially in this song, there's a lot of bass going on. I don't need added bass in there. If anything, it's just going to take frequencies away from my bass guitar and my drums and stuff like that. So turning the low cut all the way up on your vocals is just a really good way of cleaning the overall mix of extra mud and just nasty stuff. But there you go, 3 dials, easy peasy, tons of presets, and as I said before, I like presets. That's Little Plate, pretty easy peasy. The next thing that we're going to look at is also by Soundtoys, and it's called Little Altar Boy. Now, at the beginning of this song, I have a little vocal. Got a little vocal here I've called Bum Bums, and basically it's me just going bum bum diddy bum bum diddy do, bum bum diddy bum bum diddy doom. And this pairs with my bass guitar, which I'll also play for you a little bit later. Why don't I just play that section for you right here with nothing soloed. So that's what this sounds like. You can see I put a lot on this. I put Melodyne on it because I wanted the notes to be exactly the notes that they should be. I have an EQ 3.7 band because I just wanted a little bit of EQ, and it's mainly reduction EQ. I've also got a compressor, and I've got some Little Plate on there. We're going to take the Little Plate off, and we're also going to take Little Altar Boy off. I'm going to do the same thing that I've done before, where we solo this out, and I play for you what it sounds like without Little Altar Boy, and then with it. So here's without.
Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum. Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum. Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum. Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum.
So you hear that that like weird sounding thing? That was a Melodyne, and I did that on purpose so that way I could get a little extra oof in that low end. So here's what it sounds like with it.
Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum. Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum. Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum. Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum.
All right, so now when we jump in here, we can see there's again, Soundtoys, super simple. We have pitch, formant, we have mode, and then we have drive and mix. So we're going to start on the left, work our way to the right. First of all, look at all them presets. Oh, it must be a good plugin with all those presets. Anyway, for our pitch, this is changing the literal pitch as we move it. So I'll play it for you here, and I'll just move the pitch down and move it up. So it sounds like this when you play with the pitch.
Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum. 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 Bum bum diddy.
All right. Now you also have a link button. This can be helpful if you want the pitch and the format to be the same. But I find it's best to keep them separate. If you link the pitch and the formant, you should only do that if you're making subtle changes to the pitch. At least as far as vocals go. And the reason why is, and I'm just going to remember that that's negative 4.2. If I put this back up to 0, and I hit link, listen to the way the pitch sounds now when you move it up and down.
Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum. Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum.
Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum.
Right? So it's much harsher than if you were to keep the format the same.
Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum.
Slightly.
Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum. Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum.
Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum.
So now let's talk about what the format does. And now this is the reason why I didn't have any pitch changes, because I wasn't trying to change the pitch. They call this formant, but I also like to think of it as kind of like a timbre or a timbre, depending on how you say that word, Timbre. Basically, what that means in a very generalized sense, it is the sound difference between different instruments. So whether it's two different vocals can sing the same note but sound differently, to that same degree, you can listen to a song and know, hey, they're playing a trumpet because they're playing it sounds like a trumpet. So the timbre would basically be like the shape or the texture or the general sound of what that instrument sounds like. So let's put that back to 0 and let's just play with the format.
Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum. Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum.
Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum. Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum.
Now you can hear that even though my voice sounded like it was getting lower and getting higher, I was still singing the same pitch as before. That never changed. So basically all the format is it's just a way of changing the timbre a little bit. So I knew I wanted to sing the same note, but I wanted to sound a little bit deeper. So I just moved the format down.
Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum. Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum. Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum.
Perfect. Now, there's also a mode section. We have transpose, quantize, and robot. I'll be honest, I almost never leave transpose. I can't tell you exactly what they all do, but I know that quantize tends to sound more robotic, and robot tends to just stay on one tone for the most part. So here, you've heard transpose, but I'm just gonna press play and I'll go from transpose to quantize to robot just so you can hear the difference.
Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum. Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum. Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum. Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum.
Now you probably can't hear a huge difference between quantize and transpose, but what I'm hearing is, especially at the beginning, you get a little bit more of, it almost sounds like auto-tune. There's like a bum bum diddy bum bum. It sounds different. Then we have drive, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's pushing up the gain. It's adding a little bit of distortion as well. I have it relatively low, but I really like the drive on this. It's a good way of adding distortion to this without having to send it through some sort of distortion plugin, whether it's Decapitator or any other one. And then the mix is set to wet. You can get creative with this plugin by adding harmonies, by simply just putting in a sound, linking the pitch and formant, bringing it up, let's say 5, and then going 50-50 on the mix. Let's just hear what that sounds like.
Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum. Bum bum diddy bum bum diddy dum.
I think that's a perfect 4th. So yeah, we basically created a harmony. Now, it's not the best way to do your harmonies, but if you just wanted one layer up above that, it's a way you could get away with it. But if you're just trying to do, the typical adding a low, making it totally a low voice or a demon voice, as I call it sometimes, you want that thing totally wet. And yeah, that's the settings that I have for this. I really appreciate you all watching all the way through. If you got any sort of value out of this, please be sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and make sure that those bell notifications are turned on so that way you're notified every single Monday when we come out with a new video. If you have anything that you want me to cover in future videos, please leave them in the comments below, or just leave a really nice note or comment telling me that you like what I'm doing. It really goes a long way for me, and I would deeply appreciate it. That's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much, and I will see you next week. See ya.